Yo, how's it going everybody? Chadley here, and in today's video we're going to be looking at 5 arms race weapons that you guys need to be prioritizing. These 5 are basically going to be the only 5 you really farm for. There's a couple niche scenarios where you'll farm some of the other items in there, but these 5 weapons are definitely going to be your go-to. Also, if you guys want to farm any of these, I'm going to have a map up right here of the arms race map on where to go for these specific chests for these weapons, because they do have an increased chance out of those specific chests. So if you guys want any of the things that I list here today, definitely refer back to this picture. But otherwise, I hope you all have a fantastic Thanksgiving if you guys celebrate. I know this year is a weird one, so hopefully you guys can make the best of it. If you need somewhere to hang out tonight after dinner or anything like that, we're going to be streaming, so hopefully I will see you guys over there. But otherwise, let's go ahead and jump right into these 5 weapons. So coming in at number 5 is the Trickshot. Now I really like a URAD version. Consecutive hits and like next to mags are going to work pretty well as well, depending on what character you're running. But otherwise, this thing feels like an updated Flood, and the Flood was definitely one of my favorite weapons back in Mayhem 4. So otherwise, it feels really, really good. I like to use it on flak mostly. Right now I'm on frosted flak, and we can just see how well this thing actually does. Now if we just freeze a couple enemies, you guys can see how fast it actually fires. Now, you're definitely going to need to be hitting crits with this weapon for sure. But as long as you manage to do that, you can definitely tear through some enemies, but that is really the only limiting factor for the most part. So with this weapon on Moes, you can also do some very cool things with some for the road. We actually used to do that with the Flood, and it works basically the same way. You can keep that fire rate up for the entire Some for the Road duration, because you're not going to be consuming any ammo, which is actually pretty cool and would be a very fun way of using this weapon. But like I said, really the main limiting factor of this weapon is hitting crits and its mag size. If this thing had a little bit better mag size, it would be a lot better of a weapon. But right now, it definitely still just destroys enemies here in true Malawan takedown. Now, coming in at number 4 is the Critical Thug. This is another weapon that is just absolutely gross, especially on flak and Moes. Obviously, Zane can make any weapon work right now if you guys are using Purple Tree. But the Thug on flak and Moes is just a really, really good time. And this is going to be the last weapon that we show off here on flak. Then we're going to swap to some other characters. But let's go ahead and see how well this URAD Thug is going to be doing here in true takedown. And basically what this weapon does is it actually ricochets one of the projectiles to nearby enemies, which is really, really cool. So you guys can get a lot of explosives going and share it amongst all of the different mobs. And it just does a lot of damage. It's pretty disgusting how well this thing actually does. Right there, you saw how quickly it just murdered the turret guard here. Yeah, this thing is very, very good. Now, for single target stuff, I haven't really enjoyed it too much. It's definitely more of a mobbing weapon to me. It's not really going to be a boss killer. Moes can definitely make it a boss killer. I'm sure Zane can as well, because he can make basically anything a boss killer. But yeah, the Thug is definitely a very, very good option. And hopefully you guys will enjoy this weapon as much as I do. But let's go ahead and jump over to number 3. So now coming in at number 3 is going to be the Tizzy. And now this is a staple on a lot of builds right now. This weapon can put out some serious damage. Really, the only downside to this weapon is its ammo consumption. That's basically it. So if you guys use it for bossing, you will be shredding through those bosses. I wouldn't really use it too much for mobbing. You guys are going to be running out of ammo pretty darn quick. But right now we're on our flash free Zane, which actually uses the Tizzy in the actual build, and we've actually already covered the Tizzy in its own video a while back, so if you guys want to check that out, you can. But otherwise, let's go ahead and see how this weapon does right here and now. So just here on flash free Zane, we're in the Guardian True Takedown, and we're just gonna see how well we can do with this weapon. Also, I had the wrong bonus element on my grenades, so now that we got that all sorted, you can see how quickly this weapon can actually be killing enemies here. It just absolutely shreds, and like I said, just the ammo consumption is the big negative to this weapon. So as long as you stick to bossing with it, you're going to be basically good to go. But yeah, this weapon does very, very well. Highly recommend farming it, and it can be used on basically any character. I don't know if I'd really use this on Moes, but she can make it work for sure. All right, so coming in at our number 2 spot, it's gonna have to go to the Boogeyman. This sniper is basically the new and improved Lyuda, with also some extra effects, which is the Boogeyman effect on there. So it's gonna have a large skull that actually spawns and goes around and seeks enemies and does a lot of damage to them. So this weapon is just really, really good for basically any character. I specifically like to use it on Moes. Obviously, Zane can also make it work. But let's just go ahead and jump in and see how this weapon can do in true Guardian takedown here on Moes. But otherwise, let's go ahead and chuck our iron cup out, make sure we got our anointments going, and yeah, it does very well. So right there is the boogeyman, and if it actually sought out a enemy instead of my iron cup, it probably would have worked a little bit better at killing something. But yeah, it definitely does plenty of damage, and you guys will be good to go on basically any character you decide to use this on. But like I said, specifically like to use it on Moes for the most part. All right, so finally our number one spot for arms race weapons that you guys should definitely prioritize farming, and that is going to go to the plasma coil. This weapon is definitely the best out of all the arms race weapons. It does not matter what character you play, this weapon is going to be very strong for you, even though it's locked to shock and radiation as its two elements. If you guys use this on Moes, you'll be one-tapping most things, especially if you're just playing base Mayhem 10 play. It is going to just wreck. On Zane, you guys can use a slew of anointments on it, 200 splash next to mags. Consecutive hits does not really matter. You guys are going to destroy there. Flak can use it very well, and so can Amara. But I'm going to show it off on Moes because I think she does it best, because it's obviously a splash weapon. So let's just go ahead and see how well this weapon actually does. Now, it's basically like a flipper on steroids, but then it also shoots in these bursts. And I'm not really a big burst fan when it comes to weapons, but this weapon definitely makes it a little bit more bearable for me. Now, if you guys have some charge speed on your plasmon, you guys will have a little bit better time as well, because it's going to be shorter bursts between, and you guys will be getting many more shots off with it as well. But yeah, as you can see, this is true Guardian takedown, and you're basically one bursting even manticores, and I don't have any bonus corrosive going right now either. And this thing's locked to radiation and shock. So yeah, this weapon is a little stupid, and definitely should be at the top of your farming list for arms race. This thing, like I said, does not matter who you play, you will be destroying everybody with this weapon. Yeah, guys, that's going to wrap up our top 5 arms race weapons that you guys should be farming for. The plasma coil, like I said, is definitely the strongest arms race weapon that we have at the current moment in time. Does not matter who you're playing, so definitely prioritize this one first. But yeah, the other weapons you guys can mix and match with however you want to farm them. But yeah, hopefully this made it a little bit easier for you guys to prioritize what you want to be farming. And once again, I hope you all have a fantastic Thanksgiving, and we will be streaming tonight if you guys want somewhere to hang out after dinner and just have a good time. So hopefully you all have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next video.